All is calm, all is bright. When all is safe, all is right. Enjoy peace of mind this holiday season with the Erie weather-ready all-wheel drive Honda CR-V. Visit us at Bianchi Honda, because together is a wonderful place to be.
Welcome back. Happy Monday. Time now for the Gannon Lady Knights Coaches Show. He is the head coach, Cleve Wright. I feel like we just did this, Cleve.
We did. We did just a week ago.
What do? You don't have a game in between, so I mean, obviously some extra time for practice. Maybe not so obviously.
This was the Bear time. Last week was finals week, and we of course we had our finals and we practiced in between the finals and all that stuff, mostly in the evening. And so not an easy stretch. They're playing one game in 17 days, which was the Kutztown game. So needless to say, we're excited about playing tomorrow, and so that's good. And actually, I think it's official. We got our grades 3.7 for the semester for the team. That's pretty solid.
The whole university's big on that, but I imagine that's also pretty high up in your book.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you want to do your best, obviously, in everything that you do. It's kind of the mentality you want your team to have, you want your players to have, you want the people in your program to have. And so, they stepped up and had a really strong semester.
It's funny, at the D2 level, maybe at the D1 level as well, you would know better than I, but you see the kids, they'll be in the stands immediately following a game they're studying, and then at least two of you kids that were close to me on the bus, they studied the whole way back. So that's all part of it.
Right, absolutely. As a matter of fact, it's funny, we have our event tomorrow, and then we have another event that we're working on called the Serve Game, which we'll talk about in the future. But, we're going out into the schools and we're talking to students, and one of the things that we make sure we do is we tell the students, not only our name, position, where we're from, all that stuff, but what we're studying, just so that, they know they're not just basketball players, they're student athletes, and that student part is very important. I look at it equally. Not a lot of coaches do, but maybe a lot of people don't. But I look at it equally. They need to put 100% into both, and certainly we want them to finish with a degree, but we certainly expect them to give 100% to both.
So you're always recruiting. When does that come up in that conversation? It's got to be relatively early on in the process, then.
Yeah, I mean, you're always. To me, my recruiting philosophy is just to be honest. Because if you're not honest and then you try to fool them, if you're trying to fool them or lie to them or mislead them, that's going to come back and bite you anyway. Certainly, obviously, it speaks to your character too if you're doing that. But it's funny if you're honest. I think about if I'm honest as a coach, what I'm passionate about, then and the players that I'm recruiting like that, then they're not surprised when they get here. And I think that's what makes people stick around. Sometimes players can think, oh, it's not really that way, and those are the players who come and they find out it really is that way, and sometimes they leave because they're like, oh, I didn't realize, I thought you were just saying that. No, this is what's going to be important. This is how we're going to handle things. This is what we're going to do. And if you like that, man, that's a good thing, and maybe we're a good fit. But if you think, sometimes they don't believe. It's not often, but on occasion.
Sure. There's a big world out there, right? So
occasion,
you're met by a lot of different coaches with a lot of different styles, but that's part of the process, though. It's can you cut it at the D2 level, and that's one half of the question. Goalsfor Life. You got Wheeling tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. So first of all, you got an important basketball game at the Hammer Mill. It's an early one, 11:30. But again, the other half of the coin, I guess, teaching. And that's what you and your team will be doing all day tomorrow leading up to the game.
Well, actually, it won't be just us. It's actually, we're just doing a small part of it. We've done a lot of planning up to this. This is where the entire, or the majority of Strong Vincent Middle School, probably close to over 700 students and teachers will be on campus starting at about 9:45 tomorrow morning. And they each have their own programming. 6th grade has their programming with leadership. 7th grade has their programming learning about grit. And we're actually going to be part of that. The women's basketball team is going to be a part of that specifically. And then the 8th grade is going to work with the grit part is with School of Education. I want to make sure this isn't just women's basketball. This is women's basketball working with a lot of good people on campus. So the School of Education is working. Janice Whiteman and her the School of Education is doing the grit part. And then the 8th grade is Tom Camillo, who's our admissions director, our director of admissions, I guess. And he's going to be dealing with the 8th graders and kind of taking them through a presentation and doing a campus tour and some of those things. And all of those grades will have lunch prior to the game. And then they'll all be in the Hammer Mill at 11:30, along with hopefully as many staff and of course faculty if they're around to come to the game. But I know that our president and our administration has encouraged that, and once because that is Strong Vincent is our one of the schools that we are kind of, I don't know if it's not a sister school, but we reach out, we want to be connected to them, and so that's important to Gannon University and to our mission, and so and then we our game's at 11:30, so.
So this is kind of funny. First of all, it's a great event, but from a basketball perspective, you've got the unique start time, 11:30. That's early, and then the added, responsibility. And it sounds like I was thinking it was more than it was on the day of for your kids. But even still, you got to be able to flip a switch at some point in the day and get the basketball.
Absolutely. Yeah, we did some prior stuff like last week. Was it last week? It was within the last week and a half. We were in the school, in Strong Vincent School, and talked to every one of the students there in their class meetings and got a chance to talk to them not just about the event, but about some life skills and what they would be doing while they're on campus and how excited we were to have them there. We did some cheers, did some things, really connected with them. So our team was very involved in that part. The day of the game, we'll have kind of our same game day routine, except for we will do a couple things with the 7th grade. And then we do, and I do want to say that our wrestling team is participating in this, and really helping us with the 7th grade and being an active part. Don Henry and his crew, and he's a great guy, great coach, and that's a great team. And they just really bought in, and so they're going to be around. We're on break, a lot of teams aren't around, wrestling's around. Men's basketball doesn't have a game, of course, until this weekend. They played this past weekend, and they're going to be involved in it too.
Cool.
And again, so really the day of the event, we did all the prior stuff. We'll do a little bit with 7th grade, but now wrestling will be involved with the School of Education with the 7th graders, and then we'll have our men's basketball team spread out between the 6th grade and the 8th grade being around, so those those middle schoolers can see student athletes, be close to them, rub elbows with them, and so it'll be fun.
They really are. I made this joke last week, but they look up to them as like celebrities. I mean, even the small town I came from, when I was a high school baseball player, I remember I was probably still in 9th grade, but this little kid came up to me and he said, "You play for the Oilers," and his eyes were as big as the sun, and I'm like, "Wow, yeah, you're right. I didn't think of it like that," but this kid thinks, wow, am I ever going to make it to that level? And now we're talking Division II, we're talking college basketball. So
yeah. It's really cool to see even middle schoolers. Of course, we today in the other event we got going in the future, we were with some really little ones and some middle schoolers. But even when we were at Strong Vincent, those kids they do look up to student athletes, and it's neat to get a chance to just kind of touch base with them, talk with them, answer questions. And so we're hoping and thinking that they'll come in super excited to get a day off of school and get a chance to do this with that educational component.
Heck yeah.
And then come and yell and scream in the Hammer Mill.
Yeah, get all that energy out.
Exactly. It's going to be a blast.
And your kids have to take something from that.
Yeah,
from being viewed in that light.
Yeah, they're excited. And I think, yeah, absolutely. It certainly gives you, when you have that, it gives you a sense of responsibility. That, there are, even though you might not be aware of, there are eyes on you, even when you don't know it, and there is a responsibility there to be that role model. We're certain that Charles Barkley said he wasn't a role model.
Yeah, don't look up to him.
Yeah, that's not. We're not Charles Barkley.
See now, and I'm thinking from my perspective, I sat at the end of basketball benches when I was on teams. So, but you make a connection with the kid in these sessions, and maybe you're a younger, what do they call them? Not an upperclassman, but underclassmen, and maybe you're at the end of the bench. That kid's still watching you in the crowd.
He's watching how you're reacting, watching what you're going through. Absolutely.
Supporting your team.
Yeah. So you're saying you were a 20-20-20 player? 20 up, 20 down, or 20 seconds?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. I was like, come on, please.
We just want to make sure you're 20-20-20.
I did want to. I was probably a good support player because I wanted us to be in the lead so badly late, just so I could get on the court.
So you're rooting really hard for your team.
Yeah.
You say, hey, we got to get up here. Let's go.
So me and Charles can get our 20 seconds. Cleve Wright, head coach,
I'd love to
Gannon
see
Lady
that.
Knights. I wonder what Charles and myself and me. I wonder what Wheeling is going to think when they get into the Hammermill Center and that decibel level just goes through the roof. It's going to be loud. What do you know about Wheeling? What do they bring to the table?
Well, I mean, I think they have several seniors on their team. Got a really nice post player, that is long, does a good job. They really look hard to get it to her. It's a transfer from Cal PA, but they also have some nice senior guards that I think have been. They weren't transfers; they've been at Wheeling that do a nice job putting the ball on the floor and things like that. And certainly, they're aware that this is a school game, so they know they're stepping into a situation where there's going to be. I'm hoping maybe 800 to 1,000 people there with staff and so forth and other people. But, I think they're going to be a team that's hungry. Wheeling's hungry. And we're going to need to do a good job of defensively getting in position to defend. And then also being on the same page. That's important, the concern is always that we played one game in 17 days. So how much rust do we have? Are we going what's going to be, are we going to be able to, be able to work it out early? And that's what we need to do. This is a big week for us with 3 games. Certainly we don't look ahead to any other game. The game's tomorrow. We need to take care of that. But we need to come out on fire and with a lot of energy and make sure that we execute our game plan.
Then it's off to Mansfield and Bloomsburg. So you just said you don't look too far ahead, but I know you got to kind of start the process. That's a long trip. That maybe is closer to the normal routine that you'll get into eventually, you want to be into. But even still, it's a Friday and a Saturday, so back-to-back days.
Right.
Once again.
What's your typical crossover? Obviously, so everybody's in the same boat, playing back-to-back. We get past Wheeling, we'll start preparing for Mansfield. And again, these are important games, conference games, going into break, and you want to make sure that you're not on break. We're not on break right now. We have our job to do, and we have things that we really need to focus on this week, and we need to finish this week strong so that we can next week enjoy, those, I think, 7 or 8 days that are mandatory that we take off prior to coming back and playing Edinburgh on the 3rd. So, this is an important time for us. It's an important time for our team and our players. I just spoke with them about it. Being in a routine. When you're in season and you're going to class and things, you kind of get that routine going. But then you get on break and you think, oh well, I can stay up till 1 o'clock,
right.
and I can still get 9 hours and sleep till 10, or this time I can stay up till 12 or whatever. You're moving it all around, and that's not good for your body. You need to be in a routine, and we need to take care of ourselves. The body, when it has a routine, rests a whole lot better. Which obviously, if you're getting good rest, you're going to have more energy. You're going to have more focus, not just physical energy. You're going to have more mental energy. And so we just had that conversation with our team. And again, we have a fairly young team. I mean, you're talking about 6 freshmen. 2 of them are redshirt freshmen, but 6 freshmen and 4 sophomores. That's 10 of your 13 players, 1 junior and 2 seniors. There's things that they have to learn in this whole process. This is not high school. This isn't the way high school was. You have to take care of yourself. You don't have your mom and dad making you get in the bed. You're getting in the bed, and you don't have your mom and dad feeding you. You got to go and you got to plan your food, and you got to do what you need to do. So.
Yeah, it all goes back to kind of what we initially were talking about, it being equal parts classroom and on the court, because now you're reallocating your energy. Really.
Exactly.
And you've got this free time or perceived free time. You got to make sure that it gets put to good use on the court.
And at this level, if you don't have your energy, if you don't have those things, and you're not taking care of them, that's when you're not at your best. And when you're not at your best, you're putting yourself at risk to get beat.
Wheeling, that's the opponent. That's tomorrow, 11:30, bright and early. So grab your lunch, head on out to the Hammermill Center. It is the Goalsfor Life game, and man, there's a lot that's going to go on outside of that game itself. So just a cool day, really cool day.
Absolutely, and I love that what you said. Bring your lunch. Seriously, bring your lunch. If you can only be there for 2 quarters, be there. Be there and cheer us on. We would love that, and we would love to see all of you there.
Cleve Wright, head coach, Gannon Lady Knights. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.